Thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. We start with some disturbing details as a driver is facing criminal charges after a pedestrian was struck and killed at the intersection of Highway 1117 and Highway 587 in Shunya at about 10 p.m. yesterday night. The driver of the vehicle, whose name was not yet released, was charged with operation causing death and suffered minor injuries. The victim's identity is being withheld pending notification of next of kin, and the highway was closed at Lakeshore Drive in order to facilitate the ongoing investigation. Now, there's a big decision for Thunder Bay City Council on Monday as they're asked to award a $680,000 tender for renovations at the EMS headquarters on Junot Avenue. If approved by Council, the work would be awarded to Whitehall contractors. The proposed renovations would expand 2 locker rooms and create extra space on the second floor. EMS Chief Wayne Gates explains the importance of carrying out the work.
As I'm sure most people are aware, our service has been growing quite a bit in the last few years, and now we've reached a point where we need to do some major renovations here at Junot to really keep up with the demand of the service we're providing out there in the community.
It's also being recommended that the council agree to continue its free menstrual product program. The pilot was launched last year and ensured that free menstrual products be available in city facilities, including libraries, arenas, stadiums, and more. Roads and other infrastructure are a priority for many voters going into the municipal election, but with rising construction costs and many years of running an infrastructure deficit, the question remains, where will the money come from? Costs for roads and other engineering projects have come in roughly 10 above budget so far this year, and that's in addition to the multi-million-dollar infrastructure deficit, the amount we would need to spend above current rates just to maintain the infrastructure we already have. We asked all 5 candidates for the mayor's seat how they plan to pay the bills.
When it comes down to what you can do for that, you look at reserves funds, so you don't have to go back to your city taxpayers for money. The money for the set in reserve for future projects will have to be put on hold for a period of time until we can actually get our city in shape and make sure that we have enough money to make sure that gets done.
We have to have tax base, which is right now close to 70% rely on the residential. That's not healthy for Thunder Bay. That's why we have to attract, we have to grow our community population and bring more business here, and then to support a tax basis.
Well, we do have over 30 millions in the uncollected fines. So I'm wondering maybe it's time to start collecting some of those, if possible. And again, infrastructure is a multi-governmental problem, and it requires a multi-level governmental solution.
So it's going to have to be prioritized as part of the budgeting process. Luckily, we're going to be creating a new budget this year, and so it'll be an exciting process, but infrastructure spending will be at the top of the list for sure.
I would sit down, maybe talk to some experts, and do the math, because I'm not going to be like other people. It's like, oh, I know all the answers right away. No, I'm content with saying, I don't know. Let me do my research.
Local MP Patty Haidu recently visited Aotearoa, New Zealand with a group of female Indigenous delegates from across Canada, which saw a signing of a collaboration agreement. Haidu said the purpose of the visit was to support collaboration and information exchange between the Indigenous peoples of both nations around economic, cultural, political, and environmental policy issues. And during her time there, Haidu and New Zealand Minister for Maori Development, Willie Jackson, signed the collaboration agreement, hoping to improve outcomes for Indigenous peoples and to facilitate a relationship between Indigenous peoples of 2 countries.
There was a very important pivot, I think, in that it was Indigenous people really leading conversations, Indigenous people forming connections, and Indigenous people representing their own goals and their own aspirations on behalf of Canada. Instead of Canada talking about Indigenous peoples, there were Indigenous peoples there speaking about their experiences, certainly speaking about the past, but really focused on the future and the future prosperity and wellness of Indigenous people.
And the arrangement follows the signing of the Indigenous Peoples Economic and Trade Cooperation Arrangement last year, which Haidu says is just another step in our shared journey of reconciliation. Kiiwetinoong MPP Sol Mamakwa spoke at Queen's Park this past week, again criticizing the recently passed Bill 7. The legislation would move hospital patients waiting for long-term care spots to temporary homes they don't choose. Mamakwa believes this is not an appropriate solution for Northern Ontario.
Elders like Garnet Anchiganep, who is directly impacted, has reached out to my office. Garnet is a Indian residential school survivor who is and now at the end of his life, and he is being institutionalized again by Bill 7. Speaker, this is not right. My question is, how is moving elders away from their families a human solution?
We have made so many investments in long-term care in the North because we want to ensure that the discrepancies that existed for far too long between North, South, urban and rural are no longer part of the fabric of the Ontario healthcare system, Mr. Speaker. That is why we've also partnered with First Nations to ensure that there are bed allocations specifically for First Nation communities, Mr. Speaker, and we will continue to do it. Bill 7 is a positive step in helping us reform our healthcare system once and for all, and we're on our way.
Habitat for Humanity is a bit closer to their goal of raising $100,000 towards a home build after a successful barbecue fundraiser this past week.
I don't really know how to repay or express how much I really do appreciate that people are here supporting our family, and my kids are extremely excited.
The organization hopes to have Lydia Hawkinen and her family moved into the house by mid-November. Habitat CEO Lana Vukolik says she's confident Thunder Bay will come through with donations, and the support from businesses and volunteers has been great.
You know, we started at 11 this morning and people were showing up. I came outside from our building and I go, wow, there's so many people.
I was really, really happy to be here. And I think this Habitat for is really contributing.
You know, I think that's very important to get out of the community and make a difference no matter how small of a gesture you think it is.
The local Habitat chapter had to up their fundraising target for this year's build after rising costs saw them about $100,000 over budget. The barbecue netted them more than $3,000 for a total of $7,000 to date. They're accepting donations online and in person at the Habitat Restore. As a way to help improve their mental wellness, a picnic was held this afternoon for the staff at the Thunder Bay District Jail, the Thunder Bay Correctional Center, and the Thunder Bay Probation and Parole Divisions, as well as their families. The picnic was organized by the Thunder Bay District Jail's Health and Wellness Committee with the objective of providing mental health support for the officers and those working in high-stress jobs. There were various community support booths on site to deliver information to staff and their families. The event also featured food vendors, demonstrations from the tactical team, activities for the kids, and live entertainment. The picnic is the first in what Brian Tucker, sergeant with the Thunder Bay District Jail, hopes to be an annual event. He adds that the mental health of officers and those working in similar situations is important.
It was really important to get us out of the institution and get our families together to interact and do these positive things. Far too often, we're stuck into the stressful environments of work. So today, our focus is on the positives and getting some information out for family support, officer support, and all that frontline support.
The south side here in Thunder Bay was definitely vibe ready as local businesses once again came out to celebrate in a parking lot. Locals came out Saturday for the South Side Vibe event in the parking lot of Go Green e-bikes on the corner of North and Violet Street. The event saw local musicians and comedians, food vendors including the Dewdrop Traveling Barbecue, ice cream, and entrepreneurs selling anything and everything. The event aimed was to invite the local neighborhood and city back downtown, meet the business owners, and participate in a day of commerce and entertainment. Music coordinator Chris Krause says the event went off without a hitch, with everyone having a great time.
It's really exciting to be back. It's exciting to bring that positive vibe back to an area of the city that doesn't exactly get as much attention as honestly I think it should.
We want to know that we haven't forgotten the community. We want them to know that we're here for them, that our businesses are here for them, and that we want them to have a good time and have some fun.
And over on the city's north side, they celebrated artists and their work this weekend for the 18th annual Vox Popular Media Arts Festival, hosted at the Definitely Superior Art Gallery.
Home for art and culture, poets, plays, and bands. There were badges of red ribbons.
The four-day festival showcased 46 films of all genres from local, regional, Canadian, and international filmmakers. Visiting filmmakers came up for the event to showcase their films, as well as hold Q&As and discussions. The event also featured various live performances, workshops, and a regional art exhibit. Festival director Adrian Harpel says the event displays the importance of the arts in Thunder Bay, and he's glad to be able to showcase all the talented performers and artists.
And it's so important. It's so important, especially because of the pandemic, people were not able to gather, they were not able to present their work, and, we're still facing these struggles, but it's been incredible being able to present work and come together and have real conversations together, and it's just so important. And it really brings the community together.
Harpel encourages any local artists who want to get involved in next year's festival to contact them on their website at voxpopular.ca. We're now joined by sports anchor Vasilios Bellos. Now, Jack Pino making Team Canada, and they were out today.
They were. Big game. They dropped the first one to Brazil, but hoping to get things back on track.